the mean tweets.
Welcome, everyone, to City Council meeting tonight. I'd ask Council Brakefield to lead us in a prayer and the pledge, please. Let's stand.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us here tonight to all serve the city and give us the opportunity to lead the city in the direction that glorifies your kingdom, God. I pray that you'll surround our city and our citizens with a hedge of protection, and no harm shall come, and that we continue to make decisions that are not only in their best interest, but glorify your kingdom. And I pray these things in your name. Amen. Amen. Salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
John Ketcher. Troy Shropshire.
Here.
Dennis Nance.
Here.
Steve Smith.
Here.
Randy Chitwood.
Here.
Brianna Brickfield.
Here.
Chris Gunthier.
Here.
Lori Seaver.
Here.
Thank you very much. Item 2, petitions from the audience. I know of none. Item 3, department head reports. Building inspector, no report. Emergency management, no report tonight. Fire department, no report. Golf course, recognize Mr. Dennis Bowman.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Of course, this is our busy time of the year, and we have been busy. So it's been a really good spring, even with all the rains that we've had and cool weather. But the weekends have always been pretty nice, so that's what's really helped us. We always had nice weather on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and it'll rain Wednesday. And it seems to rain on Ladies' Day every Wednesday. Poor ladies have struggled getting their rounds in, but it's been really good. Our revenue in May was $9,000 higher than the previous year, so that's a bunch. We had a lot of things that contributed to that. One, the PGA, was in town. I was just totally amazed on how many people stayed in Pryor, Oklahoma, come out, played our course, and went to the PGA from everywhere. I talked to them. Where are you from? I'm from New York. Where are you from? It didn't matter. Just all over the states. It was just crazy. I could list 50 cities real easy where people stayed from. And they stayed here in Pryor. And some of them played twice. They'd play golf, go to the PGA, play the next day back at our course. So it was really good. So I know that PGA tournament had to help the city's revenue in a lot of other ways because there's a bunch of people from out of town. We've had a lot of good charitable events. Year to date, so far we're just under $40,000 that we've raised for charities out there, so that's pretty good in a short amount of time, and we got just now really hitting our season for that. One of them was Anthony Taylor. I don't know if you know Anthony Taylor, the Taylor family. Great family. He lost his dad here in downtown Pryor. I think he got hit by a car. But he's a Special Olympics golfer. He's won the Oklahoma Special Olympics gold medal 16 years in a row. So we raised some money for him. He was actually able to go to a big Special Olympics tournament in Florida, Orlando. So that's where he's at this week. And kind of a little special story about him real quick is he's an amazing young man. He gives away his gold medal. He gets a real nice gold medal for winning that. He gives it away every year to another family that has lost a family member. So it's really neat. He says, I've always got my memories of winning it, and that's all I need. And he gives away his little gold medal, so we have a little ceremony out there when he gives it to him. So that's really just a special person to do that stuff. We did the Diamond Bar event. Coleman Proctor, he's one of the top team ropers in the world, so he just lives a couple miles away, and he raised money for his charity every year, and it changes from year to year, but just amazing story. He the guy that played in the tournament a year ago on Coleman's team was in a dust storm in Kansas, and they had stopped for the dust storm, and there was an accident, so the guy hops out of his car to go help a lady that was trapped in a car, and unfortunately got hit by a semi. And so the money that he raised out there went for that family scholarship fund. So just some amazing good things. It's sad, but it's good that we can help people like that. So our upcoming events that we have is the Pryor Quarterback Club. It's going to be Friday out there. They're doing really good. Jerry Douglas, if anybody wants to help sponsor that event, they're raising some good money. They're trying to send the football team. They are going to send them down to Florida to play in a big football game down there and take the kids to the beach. So that really, helps the program when you do special things like that. So that'll be Friday. Then the Veterans Freedom Tour, they're still needing teams. I've got flyers. If anybody needs a copy of the flyer, if you know of anybody, reach out to family, friends. They're still needing people for Saturday's tournament. So still waiting on our greens roller. It's been on order we thought we'd have it in April, and it's like everything else. Here it is June, we still don't have it. So I think everybody's kind of felt those effects. So we don't know when we'll get it, and they're still trying to find out. Also, I went out and I took our sprayer and I sprayed the softball field and the baseball fields for the young kids out there, and they're looking a lot better. So it's good that we can use our equipment out there and help those kids. It makes their fields a lot better, and of course, healthier turf is safer turf. So still waiting on the river to go down to fix our pump station. We know what's wrong with it. It's just some wiring connections. We're going to get those fixed as soon as the river goes down. Hopefully, it's fixing to turn off summer here one of these days. But that's all I have. Anybody have any questions? All right. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Dennis. Library, recognize Carrie Rarick.
Hi, we're in our second week of our summer reading program. So far, we have, as of today, we have 248 people registered for summer reading, which is pretty impressive considering everything else that's going on with the library. Last week at Storytime, we had 11, which is a nice turnout for our first in-person Storytime in 2 years. And then on Thursday, we had a total of 62 people come to the two programs. It was 51 at the first one, and then we had to go buy more supplies so we could have some for the second one. There are still some grab-and-go kits if you guys want to decorate your own treasure box. We have plenty of supplies. Just come to the library. It is also a bingo square on the adult and older kid bingo if you get a grab-and-go thing. So just, two birds, one stone. Tomorrow we have sensory story time at 10:30, and they're going to make sensory bags, which are, they can be used for a calming thing, but also for young kids, it's just stuff to touch and learn through touch. And then on Thursday, they're making no-sew octopus plushies and a conductive wire anglerfish. So you use the conductive wire tape, and it makes the light on the anglerfish light up, which is pretty neat. Next week is a pirate-themed story time on Wednesday with a real pirate. And the program is edible water droplets. While you can eat them, they don't taste very good. So just be forewarned. They're neat to make, and the science about it is really, really cool. But just so you know, it's a weird texture. But that's all I've got. Do you guys have any questions for me?
How entertaining is it to watch the children try to eat that stuff?
Today, I only got to watch my child try to eat it, and it was pretty entertaining. Also, the staff at the library ate it, and that was equally entertaining. So,
Did you get Johnny Depp?
no. No, we didn't even ask.
Jack Sparrow?
He's busy. All right,
Thank you very
thanks.
much. Parks and Cemetery, no report. Police Department,
We don't have anything here,
Chief Nichols.
unless you all have any questions for police or animal control.
I might tell you, Chief, I was at lunch today with someone from Thunderbird, and they could not speak more complimentary about the relationship with Thunderbird and with our police department and our fire department. And so the efforts that y'all make out there, they recognize it, and he felt very free to talk to me about it, and he said, let you know. So I don't mind doing that in a public meeting, so thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Good to hear.
Recreation Center, Jessica Long.
Just wanted to report, we had a really good month last month. We had 172 new members, and our revenue dollars were up like $6,000. So not quite nine, thank goodness, but they were up considerably, so we're excited about that. Our new classes started this week. Evening yoga last night had 10, which we were thrilled with. The Tai Chi class this morning had 8, and then we have another new class starting this evening. So the pool is packed and group lessons are going, and so hopefully everything continues to grow. And I will echo that same thing. We've had a couple incidents. I've been there 2 years, and we've never had any issues in the parking lot. And we've had 3 little hit-and-run things happen in the last week, and I've had the police have come out immediately and helped and assisted us in that, and so very appreciative of their partnership as well. Any
Questions?
Questions?
Thank you so much. Street Department. Recognize Buddy Glenn.
Don't have a whole lot. We have done things back and forth between the rains. We actually finished up the sidewalk behind Pete's. We actually poured it in the rain today, just so we could get it done. Got tired of messing with it, so. But gladly it quit raining, so we was able to finish it off. We have been running the sweeper when we can. We've been over on the northeast side. We've had a few people's called, and we've went over and done some work. We're over there also doing some work on Dog Pound. We've had that oil and chip road, we've gone in there and started digging down and redoing the base through there. Because I did find out that, I guess I was some misinformation, but the asphalt plant never did sell out. So they are open, so I went and took a new vendor's information to them. So once they filled that back out, and then we talked a little bit, and once we do these dig outs, then we can come back and actually do some decent fixing, not just patching, but some fixing on the road. There at Southeast First and Row, we did go by and patch that. There's not actually a hole there. It's just where the contractors poured some cement, and where we went back and throwed patching in it for right now. And we're just waiting for them to come back to fix that. They still got a mill and overlay through there. They may have some other work that they need to do. But like I said, if it gets that, just let us know. We'll go down and throw some more in it. On the north side of it, it's a little bit easier to patch because of how they poured the concrete. On the south side of the concrete where they poured it, it's just like an inch and a half or something. It's hard to keep patching any type of material to stick to that, because once you drive over it a few times, it does start breaking off. Like I said, we're still mowing, weed eating, spraying. We got to go back and redo our alleys because we sprayed them earlier in the year, and then it rained for like 2 weeks in a row, so it did kill it off for a little bit, but it's already starting to grow back. So other than that, we're just clicking along. I mean, haven't had too many complaints. So a lot of it wasn't us. I just pushed it over on the engineer. Oh, Steve is here tonight. Yeah, never mind. No, it was. Other than that, that's everything we got going. Unless somebody has something they need to add.
Any questions? No. Thank you very much, Buddy. Appreciate it. We'll move to item 4, Mayor's Report. This is in your packet, should be on the first page there, Certificate of Merit. Discussion possible action regarding accepting a Certificate of Merit from the Oklahoma Academy for State Goals and Oklahoma Turning Point Council and the Oklahoma State Department of Health for recognition of City of Pryor Creek as a 2021 Oklahoma Certified Healthy Community. Is there a motion?
Motion. Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Gantier. This is a certificate that we have received in the past, and we receive it again. I think it's important that we be recognized as a healthy community. That places us in a position to receive grants, but it also is true that we are a healthy community. And so getting that recognition, I think, is important for us and for our citizens. Discussion? Call for vote.
Mr.
Shropshire.
Yes.
Nance.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Chitwood.
Yes.
Brickfield.
Yes.
Gantier.
Yes.
Seaver.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item B is a discussion-only item, discussion regarding allowing golf carts, city street access for normal, everyday travel.
Motion.
It requires no motion, it's
Okay.
just a discussion item. On page 2 through 4, we have an item that supports this, and it is an ordinance from the city of Shoto. I asked Chief Nichols to be prepared to talk about public safety in this regard, and he is the one who brought this ordinance to us as a sample from the city of Shoto. Chief, could you talk to us about public safety in this regard?
I'll open this up, and then maybe you all have some questions about it. It was brought to my attention that there had been some citizens in the community that asked about the possibility of golf carts. We already have a permit that you can obtain for a golf cart, but it's only for special events. So it's not a regular, just everyday drive across town in your golf cart. Some of the other cities in the area have this ordinance, and so I believe one of the council members that came to me thought it'd be a good idea, and the mayor to bring it forward, have a little discussion, some thoughts on it. My main thought on the golf carts is just safety issue. You put those golf carts out on the street, and again, they're driving a lot slower. They're not as big as a car, so there's some issues there, there's safety issues and my concerns. But we also have the issue with bicycles. You know, if somebody's riding a bicycle and they're not obeying the rules of the road, they could be injured also. So that's just kind of something to throw out, but I'm willing to listen to any ideas you have or questions that you might have. Don't know that I'll be able to answer them all, but we'll try to address them if we can.
Yeah.
I was gonna, on golf carts, for one, would like to require them to have the triangle on the back for slow-moving vehicle to notify them? And two, do we want to make them street legal where they have, at a minimum, brake lights? You know, they can put turn signal kits on them, and I know that's an additional cost, but at a minimum, rear brake lights so that people know when you are slowing down and braking, even because you're already going slow. You hit the brake to slow down, sometimes it's hard.
I seen in their documentation that, about insurance requirements.
Yes, Shoto, in their ordinance, they have an insurance requirement that they have liability insurance. And also, I'm sure you all noticed that they actually require a driver's license in order to operate it. So that was one of my main concerns when I was first approached about it, is young people, kids driving the golf carts. But Shoto addressed that issue in their ordinance.
They're also talking about ATVs here too. So are we letting four-wheelers up and down the streets?
I guess, again, that would be an issue that we have to discuss. Again, it's allowed under state statute if the city passes an ordinance.
Was there a minimum wheel size? It seemed like they had a problem in Claremore with a guy that was disabled, and he had a golf cart, and there was something about the wheels of a golf cart weren't large enough. There was a minimum wheel size or something to that effect.
I don't recall seeing that in the state statute, but it may be there.
Okay.
So how does our police department feel about this particular item?
Well, again, of course, I'm not speaking for everybody. I'm just kind of speaking for myself as the chief. I'm concerned about the safety aspect of it. I just want to make sure that we don't get anybody hurt. I'm sure we don't want to get anybody hurt on the golf cart, plus the fact that we don't want to have a car run into them, and then they have that to live with too, that they ran into a golf cart. So I think it's something that we really need to give some consideration, some thought to, and maybe by having this discussion, your constituents in the community can visit with you and see what their feelings are on it also.
Daylight only too.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm concerned about children and not being secure in the golf cart. And, I mean, driving it is one thing, but small children not being secure, if they could fall out, if they did.
As well as carrying your groceries and you turn and they fall in the road. I'm concerned about the liability part of it, but also how are we gonna, if we did something like this, how are people gonna know, okay, this only applies to city streets, not county, not state?
you know, there's got to be, if something like this happens, there's got to be a way for them to understand they just can't take off on any road just because it's in the city, because some of them we can't necessarily allow it.
And if I'm not mistaken, Shoto required a permit, and I'm sure that information is provided to them whenever they obtain the permit. Tell them what the rules of the road, what the regulations are as far as them doing it.
Well,
Those are issues. And also, if you allowed four-wheelers on the street, that's another issue. If you've got a small child on the back, and you could sling one off. And we do have an issue now from time to time for people driving four-wheelers on the street that are not supposed to be driving on.
I am less supportive of four-wheelers. I can see definitely the liability piece of having the golf carts on the streets, but I can also see the benefit, especially for our lower income families, having something other than a car in order to be able to get back and forth to work or even groceries or whatever is needed. But I am less in favor of four-wheelers out on the road.
There'd be more of a tendency to want to hot rod around.
Yes.
Yeah, golf carts probably not gonna be zipping around too much, but ATVs possibly, yeah.
Is there not a state document, ordinance, or whatever about the triangle anyway? The use of it?
I can't say for sure on the statute that it's on there, but again, I know that Shoto requires it on theirs.
Yeah, it's in here.
And,
Because you got tractors driving down the road all the time.
Yeah, the tractor's required to have, Yeah.
Slow-moving vehicle. But they're also required to have lights on them, aren't they?
yes,
Stoplights, turn signals, things like that.
yes.
You were talking about driving down highways and stuff. It says here that they're only allowed to make perpendicular crossings. They're not able to drive down those roads, so that'll take care of 20 and
69.
69
But it says they can cross.
perpendicular
Can you
at
imagine,
the light.
can you imagine crossing on a golf cart?
Yeah.
no
And
worse than a
and
bike.
getting hit on 69 by somebody,
They'd be faster probably than somebody walking across. Because they do have crosswalks across there,
Well,
right?
you have traffic lights there.
So you have traffic lights, so if
Still.
they're, okay to use, so I'm thinking perhaps not at the corner of Highway 20 and Highway 69, but at the corner of Southeast First Street and Highway 69, where there is a traffic.
I've not had any constituents talk to me about this at all.
I haven't
The
either.
ones that bring it up, what is the reasoning for wanting to drive them? I mean, like where I live, the little horseshoe, Brassville Estates, we've got people that sometimes drive it, which it's not a huge deal, probably not supposed to be, but it's not a huge deal because it's in the neighborhood, but still, I've never had anybody ask me about this. Do you know why somebody wants this?
Well, we've just said, again, little information that I picked up on it was, first of all, the council member brought it to my attention that some people had asked him, but we also had a gentleman, here about a month or so ago, lived on South Quay Street and wanted to take the golf cart so he could drive his wife down into the park. So, again, there have been a few requests for that in the past, but most people just call or find out that we don't have anything that allows it. Again, other than special events, we can issue a permit for a special event. Somebody's having a special event and they want to use it to transport people from a parking lot to a facility, then we can authorize that. But again, just to use it on a daily basis, that's not what the permit's for.
So the cost of fuel is one of those things, and also just the cost of ownership is another perspective.
Would this just be daylight to dusk? I'm sorry.
That's the way Shoto's ordinance is daylight hours. And I think that's definitely a good idea.
Yeah, that's like
Not have them out after dark.
Number 2 on their deal, yeah. And it says it went by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or the NOAA, daylight and dark time. So somebody can't say, well, it's dark, it's light enough to.
Well, it's just like hunting season. It's, you know,
Yeah, same as hunting season.
so, because that number changes every day.
Yeah.
I think there are some citizens who would like to see this happen. I don't think there are very many, but there are some. There are some, and we have examples from other communities. I think Shoto's been doing this for several years, and I talked to the Shoto mayor this past week, and she indicated that there weren't very many in Shoto. Shoto is a different sized community than Pryor is. Perhaps certainly we would have more activity with golf carts than Shoto would. But I think it bears looking at, and if there's some citizens who would like to do it, I don't have a problem asking our city attorney to draw up an ordinance, send it through channels, through ordinance insurance, and then send it back through council.
It looks like the gas went up 20 cents overnight last night. It was $4.29 yesterday, and it's $4.49 this morning. So it was an overnight 20-cent jump. It don't look like it's going to stop. So there may be some people that need that as a way of transportation to get around to do.
I was just
things.
curious, if we do golf carts, could we also do horses?
We've had a few from time to time already.
Let's say they kick off the triangle on the back. So.
I can see one thing happening with this, the children wanting to drive golf carts to school.
Well,
That,
they have to have a license.
right,
So unless they're 16 years old, they're not going to have a license, so.
I've done a little bit of investigation about that. There is a community in Georgia and it is a planned community, suburb of Atlanta, and they have golf cart paths around their city, and there are many golf carts parked at the high school, at the high school. So there are some communities around the country and maybe around the world who are doing some things with golf carts. So
They're our first adventure into electric vehicles, right?
I'm sure that our municipal utility board doesn't mind us charging up a golf cart. So,
And we also might remember in the smaller communities that do have the ordinance in effect, they have a lot less traffic than we do. Shoto, of course, 69 Highway is still going to be really busy, but their other side streets are not going to be nearly as busy as Park Street, Elliott Street, Southeast First. We've got some busy streets.
Do those have the bicycle path signs or signage on all of those streets? Like on
Where
Ellis?
their route has been determined, they have all that marked out, yes.
Would they be able to use those streets for sure for running those golf carts?
Most of those, I believe that they would. But again, the person would be taking a chance if he got over on Elliott Street. That's a
Yeah.
lot of traffic and
Yeah, they really
faster
are.
traffic on Elliott Street.
Just like a bicycle.
I
And
mean, some of those gas-powered ones go pretty quick, but some of these electric ones are pretty slow, and, I just worry about somebody rear-ending them.
Well, and I feel like most bicyclists yield to automobiles. And I worry that a golf cart might not yield to an automobile. They might see themselves.
around a bike, but they're gonna. I don't know, I'm worried about it.
thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you all for the discussion. We'll move on to item C. Discuss and possible recommend council action regarding proposal from TFK Engineering Incorporated to conduct an HVAC study at Pryor Creek Recreation Center at a cost of $9,000. That should be a cost not to exceed $9,000 from Recreation Outside Services account 848455075, pending Recreation Board approval. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Shropshire. We have among us tonight Mr. Thomas Keeter, who owns TFK Engineering Incorporated. And this is a quote that we had gotten from him, and he agreed to come tonight to be able to answer any questions that we might have. Mr. Keeter? Welcome. We're glad you're here. So when I first saw this, a not to exceed $9,000, I go, whoa, hold on, hold the phone, But after some further talk and some further review, that's not an exact science, and you don't have any clue how much that's going to cost you.
That's accurate. That's accurate. It's to begin with, I actually don't even know the parameters of the problem. That's the first step. is actually to get a good definition of that. And I actually, just very, very recently, within the hour, went by the rec center, just to do a quick look and familiarization myself with it. The first step is just kind of really define exactly what the problem is and what, I hate to say it this way, but what's a livable final situation, meaning completely resolution of the problem might not be possible. And that's basically part of the ambiguity of the very problem itself. And that's why it's an unknown. So the first thing is just to gather information, define exactly what the problem is, and then based upon that, kind of do some further analysis, review, and see where it lands. See what we can live with, what we can't live with, what possible solutions are. And I'll add that some of the solutions might be really simple, that gets us a little bit of gains. Some of the solutions might be very, very complex, that also only get a little bit of a gain. So it's just a matter of just kind of figuring out how all the pieces line up and where it all comes to. It's a complicated building. You're doing a lot of different things in the building. If it was just a box of an office center, of an office use space, but that's all it was, the resolutions land in a certain pocket, but that's not this situation. This is very different activities going on, very different things happening, very different types of rooms. So it's, the complexity just kind of ratchets up the whole time.
So maybe some context. We have known over the last several years that we've had difficulties with the roof, and so we've gone through and we've done repairs to the roof. We feel like those have been successful. But along with that was the air handling component that we continue to have difficulties with, and we didn't really understand. And so it's kind of the second thing that we know that we need to do, and don't have any clue about how to mitigate that. So that's where we are now, is trying to help our situation with the air handling.
So you're basically talking about eliminating the condensation issues?
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, somebody said, well, why don't you just install some exhaust fans, you know? And I said, well, you know, I'm not an engineer, and so I don't know if that would hurt, or if that would help, or if that would even solve our issues. Come in, Mr. Ketcher.
I'll to that very comment, it might solve the problem here and create a much worse problem over here.
Yeah.
The simplest thing. So we don't actually know that. In fact, since you said air conditioning equipment, you specifically said that. How do I explain this? What is causing the problem, we might not actually, the resolution to it might not be to fix what causes the problem, but to do something else that mitigates it and live with the actual cost, just overwhelm the cost, such that the problem might be related to air conditioning not performing well, but we do something else. We separate some spaces off, wall and insulation maybe, that gets rid of that weakness in the air conditioning system. I'm not saying that's a problem, but that's the sort of situation that we have, where often the actual cause of the problem we really don't necessarily remedy, we just try to overcome.
So, Thomas, explain the equipment that you use and the processes that you go through to try to figure it out.
Sure. Well, the very first thing that I do is me and another engineer with the firm, probably, we'll actually just come up and talk to the folks in the rec center. What's actually the problem? What's happening? What's going on? And then we'll stick our heads above the ceiling, crawl around the building, just basically try to document as best we can what's going on in that regard. What's the feeling is basically trying to tie down causes. And part of that process is to, how do I say this politely? Whenever I go into a building that has a problem, I go in there told, here's the problem, and then I wind up with a list of stuff. And wait a minute, we're only dealing with this one, not all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So that's part of That's part of the first step in it, is to really kind of define it and understand what's going on. Then the next piece that we do is we kind of model the building, computer software modeling, to look at what's happening in the different spaces. And that modeling kind of tells us an answer if everything's working right. And then the third piece that we do is we have some little devices that are about the size of a cell phone that we probably place, I don't know, a dozen of them maybe around the building. Different places in the building, in rooms, above the ceiling, wherever you have a problem. If you've got a space that has a problem, a space that doesn't have a problem, we put one in each. And the little devices record the temperature and humidity, record the conditions of the building. And we record that over a couple-week period. What we love to do is be able to record long enough that the temperature ranges a lot outside. Maybe it rains during that time. Record during a period of time when nobody's in the building and when the building is like completely packed and in heavy use. So that then gives us hard data, and we take that hard data and we compare it to that model that we did. And those will not differ. But if everything was wonderful, they would match. Did I say that right? They will differ, but if everything was perfect, they would match. And that then kind of points us in the path. They're not matching in this situation. They diverge in this space, but not this space. They diverge under these conditions, but not this condition. And that's then what lets us develop a list of possible corrections. And that actually then tells us some of the things that we just can't fix.
So air handling operates all 12 months. So we go through 4 different seasons. So we're coming from spring into summer. And so if you start this process, what's a reasonable time to be able to participate in that study to gather all the information you need?
We don't need a whole year by any means. We can get, as long as we can collect data that's occurring over a certain range and certain period, and we're getting those swings, then we are pretty accurate in then extrapolating that on out. Meaning, if we get it when you're in use and not in use, and we're getting it whenever it rained and didn't rain, and whenever the temperature varied like this, we can take that and pretty accurately say, well, then here's what happens under more extreme conditions. So we really only need, generally catching us across the full operation is the more important thing than actually the seasonal concerns, is the operational concerns. And we really like to catch a rain period when we data log. So we're talking about probably at least 2 or 3 weeks of data collection. But we have to do that first part first, where we come in, walk around and look at it, and we analyze the building, because that then kind of helps us know where to put the loggers and where not to put the loggers, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it takes us just a few weeks to do that first part, a few weeks of data logging, and then once we get that, we can do the actual analysis to see how everything lands out. So we're talking about the whole process. We're not working for 3 months, but the whole process winds up taking about 3 months.
I see.
And the fact is, we're doing other work too, so.
You're right.
So that's about the time period it takes us. Sometimes we can accelerate that depending upon the building. Simpler buildings go faster. Just depends on how. And whenever we really get a good hard look at the existing drawings and the existing systems, some things might just pop out as obvious. Not confident of that, but sometimes that's the case. We just real quickly see, oh, gee, shouldn't have done that.
So how long have you been doing this work, and what's your scope? Where have you done this work before?
Well, the firm, TFK Engineering, I'm the principal of the firm. 22 years, something like that. Had a firm prior to that, worked at other businesses doing this type of work. So what the firm does is we design commercial buildings. So this actual rec center is exactly the type of building we would design, where we work for an architect. You guys hire an architect, the architect hires us. We design the electrical, the HVAC, the plumbing, the electrical mechanical systems in the building. that's the bulk of our work, is designing buildings. We also do evaluation of facilities. We'll talk to an owner if they're going to maybe expand, change what they're doing in the building, change operations. Talk about, you know, what will it take to do that, do some code evaluation. Stuff, mechanical, electrical stuff related to buildings. That's what the firm does. I'll name one project. Next to Hillcrest Medical Center in Tulsa is a place called, it goes by initials and I don't even get the order right. It's Center for Physically Challenged Individuals, I think is what it's called. It's a pretty good sized complex. It's mainly for people with disabilities. And it has, we designed a facility for them about 5 years ago that's actually fairly similar to your rec center. It's got a big gym, got some workout studios, has some offices, has a pool building. That was, I guess it's probably construction completed about 4 years ago. So doing design of buildings and then doing the evaluation of problems all kind of goes hand in hand. It's all kind of part of the same job, same duty. So a building of this class is pretty common, done lots of these. Unfortunately, didn't really make plans to be here today, so I can't give you a list of some comparable facilities or comparable things we've done. I did see that at the rec center you have a Boys and Girls Club in it, the Boys and Girls Club in Nowata that's hopefully going to finish construction here in another couple of weeks. We designed that one. It doesn't have a pool, but it's a big rec center building. So that's the class of world we live in. But like I said, I didn't really prepare anything. I'll also add that most of the time we do buildings of this size, buildings of this class. This is the type of world that we work in. We, I would guess that building's maybe around 20,000. That's probably less than that square foot. I'm not real sure right now. But that scale and magnitude of facilities, we've done activity centers, schools, all sorts of classes and buildings of that nature. So nothing new, nothing surprising. That's what we do.
Very good. Council, y'all have questions?
Sounds like he's covered it.
Well, very good. Thank you very much, Tom. It's nice to meet you.
Sure, thank
And,
you. I will add one last comment. The
Sure.
very first step that we did, where I said we come in and talk and do everything, it's very possible that whenever we do that, we say, well, this is really big, or we say, well, this is not very big, it's real quick. That very, very first initial thing, basically, I can get a pretty good feel at that point of the magnitude.
Very good.
Not until that.
Well, Jessica Long is your point of contact,
Okay.
as well as Steve Powell. And thank you for coming tonight. Sure appreciate it. Discussion, council?
Just to bring us up a little, we just having a moisture problem? Is that what's going on at the rec center?
Having a problem just with our air handling. And
Just not handling?
seems like the air handling in the different spaces. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Why don't you come, Jessica, and address that?
I'm just trying to understand better what our
Okay,
problem
so for
is.
example, today with the humidity outside, the group fitness room, the floor is extremely slick. There's humidity, there's a lot of times in the afternoon, upstairs, there's condensation dripping off, onto the track upstairs. And with the snow that one time and it created that pack kind of on top of the roof, that's when we had all the leaks in the pool yesterday. We had condensation coming out of the pool room. So it's real weird the way it kind of presents itself. And so we didn't even know where to begin to try to look into fixing it because it's in different areas of the
of
building
random.
and you can't base it on, it's hard to know when it's going to happen. And it happens year round, just at different times.
So it creates a safety issue. It also
Yeah.
creates a maintenance issue that really we've dealt with for a long time. And
Well, I paid, I think when I first got here, one of the improvements that we paid for, there's some air ducts in the group fitness room that we had repainted.
Right.
And when we went in today, that paint's already falling off. So, and it was supposed to last, but it's just the humidity in there, it's hard to, yeah.
It's just very difficult
Ongoing issue.
to handle the air in the facility. So, thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments, discussion? All right, we have a motion and a second, and we've had discussion. We'll call for vote.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Brakefield,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes.
Petra,
Yes.
Shropshire.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you very much. We can begin yesterday if you'd like.
What have you found so far?
Would like an update, please.
Thank you so much for coming, Tom. Item 5, City Attorney's Report. Mr. Ritchie.
5A, discussion possible action regarding proceeding with bids for the demolition of house at 1104 Southeast 14th Street owned by Clifford Wolford.
Is there-
History on this,
Should we get a motion?
sure.
Let's get a motion.
Motion.
Motion, Gantier, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Shropshire.
I'm going to recap the history. I'm sure you probably remember it. This house went through the abatement proceedings in front of our hearing officer. He determined that it needed to be demolished, that it was a nuisance. Mr. Wofford is the owner. He's present here tonight. Mr. Wofford perfected an appeal. That appeal came to the city council. The city council heard the appeal and ruled in favor of demolition of the house. While later, I came back to you because we've been dealing with McGirt issues now for a couple of years at least. And Mr. Wofford had an attorney who I'd been communicating with off and on throughout the proceeding. It appeared to me that the conservative route at that point was to seek a declaratory judgment from the district court as to whether or not the McGirt ruling would apply to this in placing, basically depriving the city of jurisdiction of demolishing the house. After that, after I made that recommendation, which you followed and authorized me to do that, but after that occurred, we had a federal district court ruling in our district that held that municipalities have jurisdiction within municipal limits, notwithstanding McGirt. Of course, McGirt only dealt with Major Crimes Act, but it's been extended not judicially or legislatively to many areas. So with that new ruling from the federal district court on the basis of the Curtis Act, I've changed my position on this, and I believe that the proper route to go is for the city to proceed, collect the bids, schedule it for demolition. Mr. Wofford certainly has the ability available to him to go to court to seek to get a restraining order against our demolition of it. And if he were to receive such an order, then we'd stop. But that federal district court ruling, while it's not precedential and it's not commanding on our courts, gives me the confidence to say that I think that this is the proper route for us to go. Otherwise, we're going to be spending a couple of years in court, which isn't to say that we still won't, but we can go ahead and take the bids and schedule the demolition, notify Mr. Wofford of when we're going to move in and demolish it, so that he has that opportunity to go seek an order if that's what he wants to do.
Thank you,
And
Mr. Ritchie.
let me add, Mr. Wofford's attorney contacted me and asked if Mr. Wofford could be present tonight and if he could be heard. And I said, certainly. We're going to, even though legally he doesn't have the right to do that, I think it's only fair to allow him to speak, and then you guys can make your decision.
Mr. Wofford, if you would like to speak, then we'll be very happy to give you the floor.
I just come before the council and Mayor, good evening.
Yes, sir.
You know, it's going to cost me so much to rebuild it that I've got some estimates from two different contractors that, would, and they also advised me that it'd be better for me to remodel the thing because it's cost so much to rebuild it. And, they've had, one of them had 30 years' experience, and here's what he says: I believe that it would be more cost-effective to renovate the structure than to demolish it and build a new one. I have 30 years' experience in home construction and remodel. And that's just one of the statements he gave me. I have a group out of Tulsa that's willing to come in too, and they're looking at $30,000 to $35,000 to remodel it. I'm just asking the court for another opportunity. And, but,
Mr. Ritchie, how many years have we been on this?
I believe I've been actively involved in it for probably close to 2, certainly over 1. But I don't have those dates with me.
Thank you.
And also regarding McGirt, that ruling that came out the other day was just against an individual, and I think it's going to be up on appeal. The tribes haven't got involved in that yet, but just to let you know. But I'm just asking you.
I have spoken to the abatement officer on this matter, and there's been a number of opportunities that haven't gone through. And I'm not in favor of continuing something when the previous efforts and attempts basically didn't go anywhere.
Well, regarding those attempts, I did have contractors come on board last year, and but COVID hit. This was during COVID, and they lost half their crew. And that was, I mentioned that at the hearings embankment, but there was to no avail,
Has anything happened since then?
I went in there and did the demo, got all the sheetrock out, put some windows in. But ever since we had that last hearing, it was just, if I put money in it, if I put 10, 20,000, and you come back and says, no, I just lost that money. So I just kind of just waiting on the sidelines.
Okay.
But I'm just here to ask for another opportunity.
I understand this was your rent house?
Yeah, but like I said, my daughter's going to be taking over. Said she's going to be, and my son's moving back from out of state.
Originally, I was led to believe that it was your primary residence and that you were living in Claremore because it burnt down. But it actually, in actuality, it was a rent house.
Well, I lived there years ago, and like I said, that was going to be my retirement home. I'm just asking for another opportunity. There was a lot of, COVID was there. Like I said, the guys got hit there. I can get statements, doctor's notes, whatever we need.
Well, I know COVID hit, but, there's things that as individual property owner we could do. Like you said, you could have gone through the pickup truck, started carrying out sheetrock or cleaning the stuff up that's outside.
Yeah, it is clean. It's all clean, everything inside's clean. It's just, it's just waiting to be sheetrocked and have an electrician come in. A lot of it's down to the studs.
So when was,
I have put a lot of sweat equity in it, already.
so when was the fire that made you have to leave?
Back in 2018.
But it was a rent house at that time, was it not?
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't your
And I was
primary
going through a
resident?
divorce, and it was kind of like in limbo at that point. I ended up getting ownership, and
You're asking for some leeway. What exactly are you asking for?
well, I was asking for some time to get a contractor in there and remodel it, finish it up.
When
What
you say,
happened to the UKB coming in to do the remodel?
Well, That's the group that came out with COVID. And at that time, in fact, I've got some statements here from them. I'd like to look at those two places, but, yeah, they ended up getting COVID real bad and just kind of went into limbo. Then they got behind a lot of their work. Then, to come over here, just put us behind. And said,
Also, my understanding that the structure's unsecured and there've been, folks going in there doing stuff.
no, not that I know of.
Okay.
If you could start tomorrow, what would be your time frame of being completed?
Well, I've got a contractor there. I've contacted her, and she just said, just let her know,
But you don't have like a 2 week,
I mean, I can go in
3
there,
weeks, 6
finish up,
months?
I can go in there and finish up my work tomorrow and make sure everything's ready. I think she wrote it on there. There's a statement on there. How long would it take her?
Mr. Mayor, would it be appropriate if we said that if there's not substantial improvement that meets the abatement officer's approval within a certain number of days, that it will be automatically done? Can we do that?
Not with the motion, not with the language and with the action that we have on our agenda today. What we could do today is, we have a motion to act and take bids for demolition. I mean, we can vote down this motion and go back to, correct me if I'm wrong, we vote down this motion, it goes back to the jurisdiction of the abatement officer.
We can start over.
And what we would do is just.
So this is just getting bids?
Yes.
Yes.
So we're not actually going to be acting on it until we accept the bids?
So the motion is proceeding with bids for demolition. So.
And we would have to come back and approve the bids?
Taking bids, and so then it would come back with the bids then to
And
proceed.
so if something substantial happened at that time, then we could change our mind if we chose to.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, all right.
So,
I'd re-
and,
I think we should proceed.
Go ahead.
so the fire occurred in 2018, correct? And were you already the owner of that house at that point?
Yes, well, me and my wife were, and we were going through divorce, so I didn't know if I was going to get it or she was going to get it.
And then you obtained it
Yeah.
when? When did you obtain it? From the divorce? When was the divorce finalized?
2019.
So in 2019, you already had possession of it. From 2019 to 2022, there's not been significant progress made.
Well, actually, there has been significant progress. Like I said, we got the demo done in there.
Do you have photos of anything that's been
Yeah, I brought
completed?
photos the last time I was here. Passed them out to everybody.
So has anything
I can
been
get
done
those to
since
you.
those photos?
Yeah, I can get those to you.
Has anything been done since those photos, since the last
Yeah,
time
we
you were
put
here?
some windows in. Said we took the sheetrock down,
So
cleaned it all up inside.
what has been the holdup from getting it completed?
Well, the last time I was here, back in November, they said they were going to demolish it, and they said, I couldn't put any money in it because there was a ruling that it was going to be demolished.
So from 2019 until the last time we were here, in that time span, what prevented you from getting anything completed during that time span?
Well, I've worked on it a little bit, but it was just, during COVID, I got some quotes, had my tribe come in. They got their own construction company, but they got COVID. They put us behind, and that made me look bad, I mean, it was,
So this one bid that you do have is from November 6th of 2021, correct?
Yeah.
And that's to do everything for about a little under $16,000.
yeah, and
What-
she said she'll update that too. I just spoke with her.
Okay.
I mean, the prices have probably gone up since then, so.
What are the dates on the,
Those are from my
Okay.
tribe there. They came in and did an inspection, also, said, and wrote me those quotes and the recommendations.
okay.
Also, this is the Cherokee Nation Reservation. UKB has no standing. So you'd have to go get recourse through Cherokee Nation.
As far as what, I mean,
If you were using that, going to use that route to stop the proceedings, you'd
well,
have
I'm
to
not trying
use
to,
Cherokee
I'm not
Nation.
trying to use that. I'm just trying to, be a good neighbor and get this done.
Okay. I know a lot of the neighbors have been complaining for years about what's over there, and I wished you would, what you said, being a good neighbor, had started that a lot sooner.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad, but, I've always had neighbors that complained no matter what, even when I lived there,
I would encourage council to take action on this and get bids, and then we'll then review the bids and decide then about the action.
I've driven around town here just this afternoon too, and there's a lot of homes around here that are in pretty bad shape, but worse than my house, even on, on the highways.
And many of those are in the abatement process.
Well, I don't know, there's one that's been like that for 10 years that I know of.
We have a file in the office that does have pictures in it, that if any council would like to see those, we can
I
dig.
think we got a copy of those
Yes, we
last
did.
time.
Yes, we did.
I think that was prior to me coming on, so I
Yes, sir.
haven't seen them. I mean, I wouldn't
I
mind.
think we got, are you guys new? Okay.
Would you like to see the pictures?
Sure, or go there, I don't care either one, that don't matter to me.
Pardon me?
So they gave you the quote. I'm unclear. Are they paying for the repairs, or is it will this be your expense? Will you have to have the financing? That's just, they're gonna do the work, but you'll finance?
Yeah, I'll finance it, yeah. I'll get with them. And the tribe, like I said, tribe will help out in some way also. And like I said, I've got another contractor there that's willing to come out. She's a little bit more flexible in her time.
But you still won't occupy the home? You won't occupy, it's not gonna be owner occupied, you're still gonna live in Claremore
No, I'm gonna eventually move over here.
eventually,
Yeah,
but not?
Yeah. In fact, I own other property here in Mason County also.
So this is a source of income for you, not your main living quarters?
It's not my, it's not my main primary, but it will be, Yeah, like I said, and I do own a lot of, several acres over in Salina area.
Y'all stand by a minute longer, please.
I've got the photos on my phone if you guys want to look at them.
I think he's on.
I'm fine, yeah.
I believe this is the file here.
a section of that that is the historic notices on it, various things that have gone through.
And you're saying that since this, you've accomplished what they asked you to do? You saying you accomplished
How
that?
about that? I got more than that, though. That was just the second
Okay,
time it came up.
and you have photos of that?
Here's a photo of mine.
Okay,
I mean, just from the house right
Okay.
now, just a couple of them.
that's what it looks like right now?
Yeah, last week.
Okay.
Thank you.
This was taken out, it was last week's.
Well, Mr. Mayor, since this is just getting the bid started and the process started, I'm in favor of moving forward. And if something dramatic changes, then we could at any time reevaluate, but we have to get the process started, in my opinion.
Council? Okay, we'll wait till Mr. Nance gets back in his chair, and then we'll take action. Mr. Wofford, thank you for coming today.
Appreciate
Here's your papers.
it. Okay.
Mr. Nance's discussion was to move forward with the bid process, and anything else happens after that, we can revisit. Any other discussion? Call for vote.
Smith,
No.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Redfield,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes.
Ketcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you, council. Item 6, discussion and possible action on consent agenda. Item, I'm going to try to mitigate this cough. Item A, approve minutes of May 17, 2022 council meeting. Item B, approve minutes of the May 31, 2022 special council meeting. Item C, approve payroll purchase orders through June 10, 2022. Item D, approve claims for purchase orders through June 7, 2022. Item E, acknowledge receipt of deficient purchase orders. Excuse me. Item F, discussion and possible action regarding closure of South Adair from Graham to Southeast First Street on June 16, 2022 from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. for a Pryor Main Street Third Thursday event. Item G, there are some mistakes on item G, and I'd like to point those out. Discussion possible action regarding accepting bid from Fiber Interactive Technologies in the amount of strike $190,000, 2672. Appendix A, $182,026.72. Strike Appendix F, $8,800. For the RFP number 220429 for networking and VoIP phone equipment and professional services in the new police and fire complex. This equipment is necessary to provide network and voice connectivity in the facility and supports the growth of the force necessary to man the facility. No other bids received. This is a bond fund expenditure. So the change was to strike the $190,000. In essence, that Appendix F was added to Appendix A, and that was inappropriate and was not the intention of the RFP. Item H, discussion possible action regarding awarding Dwayne Foth the mowing rights of way contract for fiscal year 2022-2023 in the amount of $28,000 as recommended by Streets Committee. No other bids were received. Item I, discussion possible action regarding Municipal Utility Board's recommendation for reappointment of Mr. Gary Harris to the Municipal Utility Board, seat number 4, term ending 6/30/2027. Item J, discussion possible action regarding approval of jail use agreement with the Board of County Commissioners of the County of Mays, State of Oklahoma, with an increase in daily rate from $25 to $30, beginning July 1st, 2022, for fiscal year 2022 through 2023. These are the items of the consent agenda. Which items would council like to remove? Any items?
Everybody was here for A?
Let's see. Brakefield, were you here for A?
No, she was.
I was not here for the special on May 31st.
That's true.
Okay, so we need to pull B.
Pool B?
Pull item B.
Yes.
Are there
So
any others?
close.
Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to
Motion.
all the items except for item B. Motion Ketcher,
Second.
second Gantier. Call for vote.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Brickfield,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes.
Ketcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item B, approve minutes of May 31, 2022 special council meeting. Is there a motion?
Motion?
Second.
Motion Shropshire, second Smith. Discussion? Hearing none. Call for vote.
Brickfield,
Abstain.
Gantier,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes.
Ketcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Brickfield, sorry.
Motion carries. Item 7, committee reports, budget personnel, Ms. Brakefield.
Nothing to report, just that we have a big budget meeting this next time, which will be next week, the 14th.
That is correct. Item B, ordinance insurance, Mr. Shropshire.
We've got a couple things working right now, but we've got to find a time that everybody can get together. They haven't got something going on. We're working on that.
Mighty good. Item C, street committee, Ms. Smith.
Nothing at this time, but I would like to thank Mr. Felt for his efforts this last year. He's done a great job.
Hear, hear. Item 8, unforeseeable business. No of none. Item 9.
Motion.
Second.
Motion Ketcher, second Gantier. Call for vote.
Gantier,
Yes.
Yes.
Ketcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Brickfield,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item, we'll call to order Pryor Public Works Authority. Item 2, approve minutes of May 17, 2022 meeting. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Smith. Call for vote.
Seaver,
Yes.
Ketcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Brickfield,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 3, no unforeseeable business. Item 4 is adjourned.
Motion.
Motion Ketcher
Second.
and second Smith. Call for vote.
Ketcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Brickfield,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes.
Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.